I can see what you see not. Vision milky, then eyes rot. When you turn, they will be gone, whispering their hidden song. Then you see what cannot be. Shadows move where light should be. Out of darkness, out of mind, cast down into the halls of the blind.
For the life of me, I still can't figure out why the hell we are still identifying items. Or do I understand it? Been giving a lot of thought to this. In Diablo 2, it was a big deal because you had to have scrolls, right? They dropped and stuff. And we even know from some early build footage of Diablo 3 that those scrolls also existed. Scrolls of identification. Remember those? Oh, man. Remember those days? If you play Torchlight, you have those still. I want to say, what's that popular one on Steam? Exile. Something Eggs of Exile. That one? That also, I think, still uses the scrolls. It is a well-established and commonly used tactic to find out what the hell just got in your bag. And most times, or oftentimes, it can also be just rares and common stuff. Blues and yellows back in the day. They would just sort of randomly be things you would have to identify, and they seem to ramp up in quantity the later you got into the game, the higher level you were. And today, in Diablo 3 and in Reaper of Souls, identification is represented in two very, very simplified ways. One is pick up a legendary. It's in your bag. Right-click said legendary. Do a little dance. And boom. You now have the Staff of Plundering or whatever, right? Or you go, you do a successful rift run where you are just tearing through that place. No time to stop and check what legendaries you've got. No time to stop and smell them there roses. You go back to town, and there's a big-ass book sitting over there by your stash that is called the Book of Cain. Deckard Cain left it behind when he shook off this mortal coil. And you click that book, and that book goes, right? The pages flip, and it identifies your items for free. And every item you have in your bag that is or was a legendary, currently unidentified, will be identified, and then you can go just kind of do them all at once. Very rare that I use that. I did use it once, because I came back with extra quantities of legendaries than usual, and that was great. Surely that saved me some time, but it's not the same mechanic it used to be. It used to be a thing that you had to either pay for more of those scrolls or find more of them, and you felt like you had a limited resource you had to be careful with. And I got to thinking, okay, well, I understand simplifying some of these things, make them less arduous or less, things that are less fun, take those out of the game, replace it with things that are more fun. So then the question kept popping up in my head as to why don't you just remove it completely? Why don't you just have a legendary show up? And I figured it out. Here's why they do it. Name a game where you don't like to open a package. Case in point, the Nintendo 3DS. Even when you've gone to the store and you've said, yes, I do want this copy of Mario Jumps Luigi in an Alley.com for 4th edition 2001, right? That's the game you buy. And you know you've bought it because you just paid for it and you downloaded it. It finishes downloading. It doesn't show up in your menu as a game. It shows up in the menu as a gift, a package, a thing you have to open, like Christmas. Although in this case, it's like you snuck downstairs and saw what was being wrapped before they wrapped it, and then you opened the present on Christmas Day and acted surprised. But still, same deal, right? It's a package. It's a Christmas gift. You open it up, boom, Mario, Luigi, everybody's happy. This is not the only example. There are many, many games. Hearthstone, you unlock new cards. They have gone through great painstaking work to have you go and open a pack of cards and have it explode on the screen and have it be as epic as humanly possible. Human beings like that thing, that, call it a mechanic, call it whatever. They like to open a thing. They like to get a new game in the mail and open it. And so these are just digital equivalents of that. Like, I think Nintendo has it right. You want to feel like you're actually getting something. So you open that thing up, because we are entering this world where less and less of our goods will be physical and more of these kinds of things will be digital. I'm already kind of all in on that, right? So I think that Blizzard left it in, not just as a nod to the past, or not as them just saying, oh, yeah, we better keep some of this in or else someone's going to be mad. I don't think it's that. I think there is real gameplay, player satisfaction value in opening something that you don't know what it is until you open it. Having it not cost anything, this all makes the barrier to entry much lighter. But I'll bet there were meetings where they're like, yeah, the net effect is the same, guys. The dopamine boost in the brain is exactly the same whether they have spent a scroll or didn't have to. And therefore, that is why it existed. It's the Diablo Show, everybody, episode 8. Man, we're tearing through this season, aren't we? Mere episodes away from episode 12. I think it's safe to say that we're looking at a season 2. Things have been going real well. Big thanks to you guys, by the way. You've made it all work. Honestly, you're the key factor here, so big appreciation from me. Did Deadmau5 call the show last week? That's still on my mind. Did Joel Zimmerman, a.k.a. Deadmau5, musical sensation Deadmau5, call the show? And I've tried to reach out on Twitter for some kind of confirmation. Dude's been busy racing a car across Europe with Tony Belleci from Mythbusters. So I don't know how he would have no time to respond to me right now. But we know for a fact that he's a humongous Diablo fan. And here's what he did. He called last week, and here's just him at the beginning introing himself.
Joel Zimmerman, a.k.a. Deadmau5.
All right. Do you hear that one more time?
Joel Zimmerman, a.k.a. Deadmau5.
All right. He's in a car or something. Now, it's not exactly a direct comparison, but here he is in an interview talking about his music. Here you go.
My first kind of unofficial album was called Get Scraped, which really had no dance music in it whatsoever. It was all very, kind of experimental and weird. And
all right. One more time.
Joel Zimmerman, a.k.a. Deadmau5.
I think it's him, you guys. I'm pretty sure that's him. And I kind of skipped over it last week thinking, oh, no one's ever who they say they are on the internet, so I just didn't bother. He was asking about those ice climbers at level 60 or plus. Anyway, I just want to use this show as a platform because I think it may be my best way in to say, Mr. Zimmerman, a.k.a. Deadmau5, if you are indeed listening to the show, let's do an interview, man. Let's talk about how you play. Don't worry, I'm not a fan. I love your music, but I'm not an idiot. I'd love to have you on. Let's talk about Diablo. It's not going to be fawning all over you. It's going to be fawning all over the game you love. Can we make this happen? Let's make this happen.
God, I'm not sure how everybody else feels, but when I find myself looking at all the crafted set pieces that I can build, I'm not too impressed with the set bonuses. I'm not really sure how you feel about this, or anybody else really in the community. Are you making a bunch of crafted set pieces, or do you just feel like I do and you're just waiting for the non-crafteds to drop?
Am I making a bunch of crafteds now? Boy, am I. We'll get to that in a minute. Right? Because things have changed. This week is a significant things have happened this week, which we'll get to in the news. So don't worry about that. But yes, I am making them. And the set bonuses are... Oh, something's ringing. What's ringing? Hold on. Oh, gosh. This is all happening live on the show. Find my phone alert. I don't know why that's playing. Can I stop that from playing? Oh, gosh. All right. Thank you so much. Someone is trying to find their phone, and they're using my account. Anyway, oh, gosh, there it goes again. Time to turn ye old phone off. There we go. You know, I could just edit this out, but I'm too lazy. So anyway, what was your stats, set bonuses being underwhelming? I don't know. I think they're great. Right now, I'm enjoying a 4-piece bonus that is giving me 100% resistance to elemental damage. That is huge and officially made me be able to solo, when I'm soloing a rift or something, bump my torment level up a slider. But I believe very strongly that the set bonuses on all these green sets are designed, and not just the set bonuses, but these sets in general and these green sets. Hey, bud, shut the door. Thanks. Sorry, my son's probably looking for his phone. I'm of the belief that these bonuses are just stepping stones toward better gear. Like the goal isn't, these are not the end game. The end game is not just get all these set bonus sets. The end game is to get really rare legendaries, but these help you get there. Right? Get you in the higher torment, get you deeper into their chances, into the Vegas roll, so that you can get better stuff. It's a half measure. And even though Mike Ehrmantraut all taught us that there are no half measures, no more half measures, I still think there's room for one, maybe two. Oh, that music's quiet. Hey, Scott's first time you've done this or something? It's like you haven't done 7 other episodes. So there is some stuff in the news, and the big one was the one that kind of caught a bunch of us off guard, including me. Patch 2.0.6, which we knew was in the works, happened, and it honestly kind of threw me for a loop, because what changed was big. They took away the need to have rare legendary crafting material drops for crafting. So no more farming for some weird book or some strange amulet or some guy's ear or whatever. That's done. No more of that. Suddenly I can make everything I have recipes for. I went into the Crafter Man, and oh goodness, look at the list of suddenly quantities next to numbers next to the things I can make. Sets I was working toward farming for that I thought would just never get the pieces for, and suddenly boom, they're ready to make. 4 pieces later, I'm a hugely improved wizard. So that's a big deal, man. And this may have been data mined before, or someone may have talked about it, but it completely missed my radar, and I had no idea it was coming. And what a day that was. I'm sure some people are like, dumbing down the game, but here's what they said, all right? This is a really interesting quote from Blizzard. This is all part of their new philosophy regarding Legendary. And it says here, Legendary crafted items are meant to be both a stepping stone into endgame items, and a good place to spend crafting materials at the end game. While we like the fantasy of having the unique crafting materials, I have to admit that stuff's kind of cool in the lore and whatnot. Obtaining them was either keeping too many people from being able to complete the recipes in a timely manner, or encouraging game flipping or similarly less than ideal patterns of play in order to acquire them. As such, we are removing the requirement for unique items when crafting legendaries. That whole stepping stone thing is, I think, important, and that's what I mentioned earlier. This is all not shortcuts, but these are paths to a greater thing. They were never meant to be the thing. But the hard to get them factor in those legendary crafting materials made it feel that way. Made them feel much harder and less obtainable. So people would get to a place where it was like, well, I don't even know what to do here. I'm spinning my wheels. I'm not getting great drops. It's going to take you a lot longer to kind of luckily get there than by taking some of this crafting path to get there. So I think it's a brilliant move. Here's the only thing I would say. I would actually argue they could have done this, and they wouldn't have had to have thrown away all these art assets and all this stuff connected to what they have so far, right? They just basically threw these out. And what I think I would rather have seen have happen is have them still be material you need to craft the item. But when you hover over it in the recipe, have it say falls off of so-and-so. Right? And then you would have to go find, whoever, Skeleton King, let's say it's one of his items, and kill him once in a bounty or otherwise, and he drops it. And you only had to do it one time because it comes off of him, and you get his ear or his left testicle or whatever it is every time, right? So you go, kill him, get it, go back. It wasn't that you had to farm him 50 times and got lucky to finally get one. Do you see what I'm saying? You could have kept it in, just made it super, super easy, like identifying items. There's still kind of a really cool factor of like, this is not, we have a lot of material in this item. This sword needs a lot of stuff, but what it needs most is the left testicle of the Skeleton King, right? And without that ingredient, there is no sword. It is just any other sword, but you need that one magical property. That's a cool thing. So go knock it off the dude once, bring it home, make it. You took away the grind factor, and you're left with basically what we have now, which is the elimination of them, and the keeping of it, but making it easier the way I'm describing is kind of the same end game. It's the same result, and everybody had to kind of do one little extra thing for it. Big deal. They had to clear a zone, a randomized Skeleton King zone, and then beat him once on whatever difficulty. Big deal. We're doing that every day anyway. Chances are we'd have already done it. But moving forward to make that a part of it, I would have liked that a lot. I feel bad that they had to get rid of all that stuff and the lore behind those things as nondescript and sort of devoid of detail as they were. Like, they don't go into great detail about that testicle and why we need it. But maybe they should. Maybe I'm asking for the next short story to be all about his testicle. Oh, the other bonus feature of this change is, and there were a lot of other things in the patch, so this isn't all there was, but these were the most seismic, obviously. Monk's got a bunch of great boosts that Monks will be happy about. I don't play Monk, but I'm told by my Monk friends that everything's real good there. I will say this. If you had any of those items in your bags or in your storage stash and they're still there or were still there, you can sell those now. They'll end up being white items in terms of, you know, their rarity or whatever, but you can sell them for 50,000 gold each. 50K gold each. So they're not just leaving you high and dry on those. So go spend your money, baby. Woo!
Hey, Diablo Show listeners. It's Dave from SoCal, or at KGMage on Twitter. Wanted to chime in on Scott's advice for leveling in Reaper of Souls. If you already have a 60-plus character, the plus experience gems in your helm, the red gems, give you 30+% to XP. So if you're leveling with friends, this is even better than the Torment 2 or Torment 1 or Master, whatever bonus you're gaining. If you want to take it a step further, slap at a plus 220 damage gem in your weapon for quicker solo leveling. Just my 2 cents. Thanks. See ya.
Hey, good news, everybody. Those Death Maidens getting you down? Death Maidens giving you grief? They were me. They no longer summon unlimited skeletons. I have a small side note. In a recent hotfix. I don't like the Death Maidens, but now they are limited as to how many skeletons they can spawn. The problem was you'd walk into a room and if one had already been in there pooping them out, they may have made far too many. And if you're running, I don't know, Torment 4, that can be unwieldy. As much fun as it is to blow up a bunch of skeletons. So they did a theory craft again on Thursday, and that's a deal you can count on from Blizzard. They're going to do that every Thursday, and I enjoy those, but for the first time they started doing a dev stream with it, and I think this is going to be something they do every 6 weeks or so. That was the word on the stream. I caught part of it, but had some other stuff going on. E3 week was crazy for me generally, so I kind of had to, I don't know, spread my time out. But some interesting things came out of it. Let's start at the top of the list here for what I wrote down. Kadalaha, gambler lady, is now supposed to have a better attitude. Because I guess now, so even if she poops out a legendary, which is how I got my current belt, she'll say the same stuff she will for a blue or a rare. Like, I've seen better. That's not very good. Whatever she does. She was just as dour on those. So you'd have like a major upgrade for me. A belt popped and it was awesome. And she's like, meh, I've seen better. I was like, whoa. If that's what you're saying. I mean, I think that to a player who doesn't understand these things, they might think that, well, I'll just toss that then if she says that. I mean, if you're taking her literally, that's bad, right? Let's see what else. The monsters and tiered rifts. This is the upcoming tiered rifts coming soon. Will drop no loot from monsters. All the elites and standard ass monsters, nothing from those mobs except gold, but no loot. The bosses at the end will compensate though, with huge amounts of loot, including a very high chance of legendaries, gems, crafting plans, and so on. So all the stuff you want out of that whole fight, they'll be. This makes sense to me because think about it. They're eliminating all the time suck of the run, which is, hold on, I got a legendary, let me check it. Oh, wait, my bags are full, I got to go back to town. Hang on, or, whatever. All of those things are usually things that will slow your progress down in the rift. So why not save all that for the end and have that dude just explode with goods, I mean, that's the whole point of the tiered rifts, how quickly you're ripping through this stuff. It's this competition aspect. It makes perfect sense to me. I hope it truly does compensate, though, because that is a little weird to do nothing but gold grabbing the entire thing until you hit your limit, and then comes the Guardian. I don't know. I'm anxious to try that out. See how that goes. No ETA for 2.1 yet, they say. But some information about the patch will be shared, quote, pretty soon, unquote. Well, if that doesn't qualify as mysterious, I don't know what does. And then the other real significant thing is old legendaries are going to get revamped in 2.1, but not retroactively. So hoarding them now is pointless. If you're keeping a bunch of stuff purely because, I think they're cool or they're going to be awesome one day or my alts want them or whatever, I guess your alts could still use them. But they're not retroactively doing these changes, these buffs, fixes, whatever, to any you already have. So if you already have the Sword of Rectal Bleeding, it will not have its stats improved retroactively with the new Sword of Rectal Bleeding. Okay? Now, I don't know about you. That's a sword I don't want.
Hey Scott, love the show. Been enjoying your talks about Whimsyshire, and it got me thinking about my first experience there. When I got back into Reaper's Souls, it was after a very long absence of playing Diablo 3, so the first few weeks I was pretty disoriented and just focused on Act 5 and relearning the game. So I may be remembering this wrong, but I recall at some point going into town and clicking on the Rift Stone, or perhaps it was the Orange Portal, I don't quite remember, and ... I find myself in this strange land of unicorns and clouds and candy, and of course monsters, as you would normally see. And my first thought was like, WTF, are these rifts? This is crazy. What is all the hype? I later come to find out that rifts were a bit more randomized than that. But then when I look at Wiki, as I look up Whimsyshire, I find out you have to, do quite a number of things to get to this place, like get plans, build a staff, this and that. So do I remember it wrong, or is there some way to get to Whimsyshire through rifts? Thank you.
There totally is. So you're right about if you want to just take a casual run in there or bring a friend in and farm for the pinata or whatever, you have to have the items, you have to have done the quest stuff, you have to have the staff. And there's clear instructions online how to get all that, what to farm, how to do it, and everything. I have yet to do it because every time I've gone there, including, I've only gone once, is with a friend. And that's how you get in otherwise. So a friend who has done it can go pop it for you and you're in. You don't have to do anything special. You just get in. If you don't have the staff, you can't get in. But if you are randomly placed there in a rift, you can totally get in. That happens all the time. And in fact, didn't they say it may be this patch or maybe 2.1? Now I can't remember where I read it, but somewhere along the lines, somebody had said in authority that that you'd be able to see that more often. That Whimsyshire would show up in rift runs more frequently than it does currently. I have actually, in all the rifts I've run, I've yet to see it in a rift. But I know some who have seen it many times. So it's like anything else. It's just a random... It's an RNG, baby. RNG. Kicking RA one day at a time. So, on Reddit, Azaxa, I want to say is his name. I never know how to say his name right. On Twitter, sent me this link, and I want to thank him for that. A link over on Reddit on how to boost the effectiveness of your followers when you have the Ashira's bonus set. And I have that set, and it's great. What happens is every so often, it's pretty frequently, all my followers will pop, even if I'm in multiplayer. So if I'm running a rift and I've got 3 other guys with me, they will suddenly out of nowhere, all 3 of my followers will pop, and you know, Scoundrel shooting arrows, and what's her name's doing magic, and Zippy over there's got all his abilities, healing me and charging and saying, "Do you see that creature over there? Glorious," right? They come out of nowhere. They do their thing for about 10 seconds or something, and then they're out. They pop out again. They kind of teleport in and teleport out. And it's a great set bonus on that gear. However, what I didn't understand is that there is actually, depending on how you gear those 3 followers with the character that you're running, and of course that's different with every character, right? Every character's got those guys at different levels, different gear, and everything else. That will affect how good they are when they pop, how much they will help you. And some of this is just straight up theory crafting and number, min-maxing on those guys. But it's a really, really good, well thought out, like incredibly well thought out guide on how those guys work in this particular case, like how to maximize them with this set bonus. So I'll put a link to it in the show notes for the show, and you guys can check it out. It's way too deep to go into here, but it's really cool. So thanks again, Zaxi, however you say your name. Also, we found out at E3 this week, we have exclusive content for the PlayStation 3 and the PS4. This was all revealed at E3 and made official. First up, The Last of Us Nephilim Rift. Get ready to endure and survive, says this post. We've teamed up with Naughty Dog to create a unique Nephilim Rift for the Ultimate Evil Edition, inspired by the award-winning PlayStation 3 title, The Last of Us, also coming to PS4 anytime now, featuring hand-picked environments from the Diablo 3 universe and an ominous yellow spore effect. This randomized dungeon level, available only on PS3 and PS4, is sure to awaken the survivors in us all. So, note to PC players, that is not in your game. But it makes sense. This reminds me of, what's the fighting game with the swords in it? And they had Yoda and Darth Vader and Spawn and Link was in one of them for the Nintendo, for the GameCube version. I can't think of the stupid name. Soul Calibur. There you go. Soul Calibur games did this. Same idea. Exclusive stuff based on the console you're on. Fan service, if you will. Also, Shadow of the Colossus transmog set. And I quote, "Raise thy sword by the light." You know, I'm going to read this in a good voice. Hold on. Let's get a little music going here. How about this? Here we go. Raise thy sword by the light. In addition to The Last of Us Nephilim Rift, the Ultimate Evil Edition will include a PlayStation exclusive that pays homage to the gaming classic. Players who choose to join the crusade against death on the PS3 or PlayStation 4 console will be rewarded with the Guise of the Colossi, a unique set of transmogrification plans that unlock 6 armor appearances inspired by the influential PlayStation 2 title, Shadow of the Colossus. These striking appearances will be available to each of Sanctuary's larger-than-life classes. Ooh.
Hey Scott, Vex here. So with the new seasons coming out, I'm just wondering, should I even play Diablo? I mean, there's going to be new legendaries and I got to level another class again, so why not just wait till seasons come out? Thanks a bunch. Love the show. Bye.
That's a fair question. This happens with me with MMOs, like with WoW. I'm playing the alpha, so that's fun, but you know, I'm stuck in this rut in the core game where I'm like, I don't want to do any of this stuff that's just holdover until new content, you know? I feel like this is a little bit different though, because in Diablo, there's a reason to obtain gold. There's a reason to keep rolling on gear sets to see if you can get better rolls. There's a reason to talk to Kadalharha, to collect mats, to have those chances at better legendaries, even though some of this stuff's going to get retrofitted, and to still have fun with your friends. You know, I mean, there's still reasons to be doing all of that. I don't think it's as detrimental to the game, to this game, to know that there's more on the horizon, and wonder if that should mean you should slow down or not play. I don't feel that way about Diablo the way I do these other games. Sometimes MMOs fall into that rut for me. Yeah, I don't know, man. I totally get where you're at, though, and I get where other people are on this, but I say keep going. There's plenty to do, plenty to get. Save up your stuff. The things you're going to be getting by naturally playing are not going to go away. Blood shards are here to stay, man. It's the way it is. Ooh, good news, though. Like blood shards, auto pickup of gems and crafting mats, quote, still on the way, unquote. This is what they say in the forums. This is a good suggestion, they say, and it's actually been something that we have been planning to add since just before Reaper of Souls launched. It's still on the way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, think of it as gold. The way gold is now, you've all forgotten. It used to be, Diablo 2, you had to go and manually pick up every piece of gold that dropped. Not every coin, but you know, every cluster of gold that dropped you had to pick up manually. You don't do that anymore. You just run over it because it makes perfect sense. Then in Reaper of Souls, they did that with potions, health potions, like they did with gold. Before Reaper of Souls and straight up Diablo 3, you still had to click on those. So these are things you're always going to click on. So those kinds of things, they're making auto pickup, and it sounds like crafting mats and gems, which I think totally fit in that category, that's on its way, and that's great. They say, while it is on its way, it is subject to change, but here's what we had to say about it originally, in case you haven't heard. I should point out that we won't be making any adjustments to the crafting resource management system in patch 2.1. The ideas we have about possible changes to crafting material, storage, and currency is just that, ideas. They're still subject to heavy amounts of change and iteration and are not something we have yet decided to implement. But I like these quality of life improvements in the game. So if I don't have to click on garbage on the floor that I know I'm going to have to pick up anyway, and I just want to do that when I'm evaluating gear that hit the ground, that's great. Now, at some point, you want to be able to run over gear and just vacuum it all up. Some might. I still want to pick things up. I don't want to pick all of it up. I think they're striking the right balance. So that'll be interesting. Also, speaking of rifts and how long they last, again, call me naive, but I had no idea this was true. I just assumed it was. I knew it wasn't a timer per se, but I didn't know what actually constituted the progress bar in a Nephilim rift. I thought maybe it was just, oh, well, I had more elites than usual, so that boosted it. But if it was all just like single target lame-o mobs, that's going to be much slower. I didn't know. I thought it was some funny math going on. Turns out it's not a timer. It's a counter. There was a post in response to somebody on the forums that said, you need to kill enough monsters, 999 is the current count, for you to reach 100%, at which point the Guardian will spawn. Why? I didn't know that. You had to kill 1,000 mobs. What's crazy is that there are times where you're in there with a fast group and you'll kill 1,000 mobs in less than 4 minutes. You know? If you're getting lucky on layout and stuff. I mean, that's crazy. Think about that. It's a lot of death at your hand, the hand of your monk or whoever you're playing. Anyway, for those who didn't know, yeah, 999 mobs. That's the Rift quantity. I think they didn't put the number because the number would drive you crazy, wouldn't it? It'd be like a battery indicator on your phone. I prefer to see the visual that the battery itself is running out and not a number, and the number makes me nervous because then I can see it tick away. 38%, 35%. Oh my gosh, I'm almost at 20% on my phone. I'd rather have just some straight up visual, and that's what the Guardian Rifts do now. So I think I like the way they're doing it. Maybe one day they'll let you choose. And if they do let you choose, what are you going to choose?
Hey, Scott. This is Zach from Utah. Big fan of the show. Love Diablo. Been a fan for a long time. I just had a quick 3-part question. I'm a huge fan of Diablo 2, and I miss runes, jewels, and charms. I was wondering what you thought about them taking out runes, jewels, and charms, and if you miss them, let me know.
No, I don't miss them because we have runes. They're just different now. Charms were just another stat stick. And look, and it's been a while, and I played so much Diablo 3, I've probably squished some Diablo 2 memories out of my head, even though I played the hell out of that game. But my memory was charms were just another inventory slot, right? Or no. It was something you just carried in your inventory. You always had to have in your bags for it to take effect. But it was, again, just another little stat boost. I don't miss that. I think that just took up space and was irritating. You can make up with that with other things. I think the rune system in Diablo 3 is really neat the way it works, and I also think the skill system in Diablo 3 is by far my favorite way to play an action RPG. I know some are very wistful and longful for the old days, but I'll take this over that other approach. I mean, in retrospect, the Diablo 2 one was great for its time, but I don't feel like the skill system in there was great in the long haul. I also don't like games that make me assign points to specific attributes. I know some people love that. I hate that. Or if you're going to let me do that, I mean, that's what Paragons are, right? That's exactly what Paragon is. But like Paragon, if you're going to do that, you got to let me reset that and assign it any way I want, anytime I want. Otherwise, because the way it used to be in Diablo 2, you were locked in forever, wherever you put your points and wherever you put your skills and abilities and spells and stuff. They were there for the end of time until, I think, just a couple of years ago, they put in a respec option. But respecing did not exist for like 12 years or something in that game. So, no. I'm much happier with where we are now with all those things. I cannot remember how jewels worked, though. I totally forgot about that, and I don't remember it. Charms, I remember. But man, some of those charms, because you had Tetris-style inventory, right? Having to fit everything in there. And I remember charms, like larger charms. They had the greater charm of whatever, and lesser charms. And the big ones were huge, and they took a huge slot, and they were always out of room. So to answer your question, I don't miss that stuff. And I don't think they need to bring it back. They could probably get people excited if they came out with an announcement and said, charms are making a return, but not in the way you expect. Burp, 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 right? There's ways to make that interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. All right, it's time for some more feedback from you guys. These are your emails and a few more calls. And you know what? Let's start with a call. Got one here about, well, it's from Deckard Cain, but I don't think it's the real Deckard Cain. You'll hear from him later in the show, but here's one.
Scott, this Diablo show is fantastic. If you haven't noticed, this is Deckard Cain. I have to say one thing, though. You've been talking about when you go into difficulty, you set it to masterful. It's not masterful. And if you say that one more time, I might have to transmute my head in a Roderick Cube. Anyway, keep up the good work.
All right.
Love the show.
Fine. All right. I got you there, buddy. So, I know. I keep doing it. I keep saying masterful. I put a full on there where there is none. The levels are normal, hard, expert, master, torment 1 through 7. Sorry, 6. Torment 1 through 6. And that's all done with a slider. But your core difficulties are normal, hard, expert, master, and torment. They used to be normal, nightmare, hell, and inferno. But that was... I didn't like the way they did that. You couldn't change that throughout the game. Anyway, what was my point? Oh, yeah, I won't do that anymore. It's master. I got it. I got it, man. I got it. Just freaking relax. I'm not going to call it that anymore. Just hold on to your butts. We got an email here from Philip L., who says, "Hey, Scott, I've been trying to find out if crafting loot on higher torment settings results in better crafted loot, such as crafted legendary items, but haven't really been able to find an answer and wanted to know if you could help. Really enjoy the show. Been listening since the first episode. Keep up the good work." If your difficulty setting is set to Torment 6 and Torment 6, don't send me an email about me saying torrent by accident, okay? All right? I have Arcane Torrent. That's the thing I do. Yeah, no, you don't. It doesn't matter. You can be normal. You can be normal or as high as you want to be. It doesn't matter. And when you're crafting, that is not determined. The crafting part is the difficulty settings are only about fighting and killing and stuff. It's got nothing to do with your rolls on loot, nor does it have anything to do with Kadalharha. In fact, the best piece of loot I got to fall off her randomly, a legendary, happened while I was on normal. Because I was just tearing through stuff to farm for something, and she just happened to. And I've crafted on normal, and I've crafted on high, and I've crafted worse stuff on high levels, and better stuff on lower. It's all random. So don't worry your little head about that. Here's a call about a dude who plays hardcore and why.
Hey, Scott, this is Kevin. I just wanted to talk a little bit about hardcore. One of the reasons that playing hardcore is good is because it gives you an actual stopping point for the game. Otherwise, you'll just end up playing Diablo forever and ever and ever and just getting more loot and more Paragon levels. But at least once you hit 70, even if you do die, you do get to keep all of your Paragon levels and anything you've unlocked for your vendors. So at least there's that if you do die. Anyway, love the show. Bye.
All right. A peer into the mind of a hardcore player. I started a hardcore player, and I started even recording video of it, and then decided it wasn't that interesting. But I started a barbarian. His name was I Die Soon, and he played well. And I killed him on purpose to try to do something with the video, and it just fell flat, and I decided not to use it. But it was fun while it lasted. I still think that there is a hardcore character in my future. Somebody linked on Twitter this morning. Oh, where is that? I should find that because it looked cool. Let's see. Here it is. Look what I found on my Hardcore Crusader, says Troll Dan Othrin. This is a hard piece to replace even as I level. Check this out. Ancestor's Grace. It's a legendary amulet. The bonuses on it are 11% speed increase, plus 80% experience, or 87% experience. 87%. I got to quit saying percent. Plus 87%. Plus 87 experience. Man, something wrong with me. But here's the most important secondary stat. When receiving fatal damage, you are instead restored to 100% of maximum life and resources. This item is destroyed in the process. Do you get how that works? That is made for a hardcore character, man. You wear that thing, you hardcore it up, you get yourself killed, boom, back to 100% of everything. One time only. The amulet explodes and is destroyed at that point. That's pretty badass. Anyway, let us know how it goes, man. Good luck on your hardcore characters. Up next. Hi, Scott says... Oh, I didn't get the name. Dang it. I apologize. I didn't get your name. Although, wait. Nope, I did get your name. It's John Young. John Young says this: a fresh level 70 Crusader does feel weak, he says. I think it's because, and this is because last week I said that I felt like my level 70 felt weak when I got there. He says, I think it's because there are so many game-changing legendaries for them they have to balance around. The Crusader gets really fun if you get some specific legendaries for him, shields or weapons. This is where the fun begins. I think it's the class with the most game-changing legendaries, ones you can construct entire builds around, like Captain America's build. I would check out the build on Diablo fans. Hammers seem like a good starter build. I don't like as much, but he doesn't like it as much, but things seem to melt when you use them, all right? I don't like playing the Crusader as melee either. I play him as a super tanky burst caster. He feels like a wizard or a DH to me, but with a lot of armor. Keep up the show. Love it. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I see, and I'm not a fan of that whole thing. And this is also true. Witch doctors are going through this right now. There are a lot of there are a lot of builds that are based on gear or guilds. See what I did? Gear and guilds. And I don't like that. I'd rather play what's fun and have the gear help me do whatever I want that's fun. Now, some of these things are fun. I mean, Captain America's build, that looks really fun. I've seen many people play it in rifts that I've run with them, and it looks like a blast. But I don't know. That class just really fell off for me at the end. I loved it through most of its life. I loved it through about 60, I think. And it was 60 through 70 and then beyond that I've just been kind of bored of them. I don't know. It could be totally me. And I am not, I realize you can do a lot with him at range, but I'm just not a melee guy. I never have been. I always tend to go with ranged or with area of effect style classes. You know, if there's arrows to be shot in the game, I like that. I'll probably get my Demon Hunter done at some point. I like magic. So, you know, I think my preferences are showing there a little bit. But that's kind of where my head is on it. I'm curious. You guys probably have a lot of feelings about it, so let us know what you think.
Hey, Scott, this is Dr. Zombie. I'm really loving the Diablo Show. But I wanted to ask what your opinion is on achievements. Do you go for achievements? Do you find them interesting? Do you think that there should be more reward for them? Do you think they add something to the game Diablo 3? I haven't heard you talk about achievements, and I was wondering if you even give a crap. So let us know.
I give a crap. I like them. I think achievements are great, and they're also here to stay, and they are a part of video game culture for here and forever. So you almost can't put out a game now without having achievements tied to it. And Blizzard is all in on this idea. So I'm totally fine with them. I think they're fun. I think they're interesting. I think some are ridiculous, like the one that's like kill, I forget how many total trees it is, but all of those trees in Act 1 that uproot and start putting poison bombs on the ground. You're supposed to kill a certain number of those. It's absurdly high, that number, and I don't think I'll probably ever get that. But I know some people who are working on it. Hello, Ralph. But anyway, I like them. I think they're good. I'm never going to get all of them. I'll never be like a full achievement getter. I go for the stuff that I think is interesting or fun and not the ones that are arduous and boring. And I don't really care about bragging rights so much. You asked about whether they should have more rewards tied to them, and I actually think that'd be a great idea. How cool would it be with every with every achievement down, a legendary would drop when you got that achievement. You know, be in your bag or be back at your stash and you had to go check it or something. Or something like that, you know? More stuff tied to getting loot in the game is always good for me. So I'd like that. But on the whole, I think it's fine. I think it does add something to the game. It gives other people a new way to play. All right, I got a call that sounded like this. All right, so check this one out. It starts so interesting, and then what?
Hey, Scott, I wanted to tell you about a really cool item I got the other day. I was running around.
Oh.
That's for years 4.
Oh, no.
And just...
What? What? Speak. All right. You see what happened there. I would just make this recommendation. If you are in a tunnel, do not call me from there. I want your calls because they're rad. I love your calls, and I don't want them to stop coming, and I would really have liked to know what that guy got. So, A, call back, dude. Second, just, have some good range on your phone when you guys are doing this stuff. All those calls came into us today at 206-278-0553 or you can send attachments to thediabloshow@gmail.com. All your phones have voice memo features. Use those. Those are fine too. Thediabloshow@gmail.com, or like I said, the phone number 206-278-0553. Oh, that sounds good. All right. Before we get out of here, a couple quick things, contest-wise. Ooh, should we just do like straight-up contest? Well, let's do it. All right, here you go. We got to make this a big deal. Here's the deal. I've been promising forever that we would have the skate deck, custom skate deck. If you followed us on Twitter, you've seen a little video of me holding it. If I can't grab it here. I was going to bring it over here, but you can't see it anyway. But anyway, it's covered with signatures from all of Team 3. The entire Diablo team has signed it with permanent marker. And it is a thing they are never going to manufacture or mass produce. It is a one-time deal. One exists. It's a skateboard deck. There are no wheels. Or, what do they call them? Trucks? What are those things? Whatever they are. The things that hold the wheels. That is not included. It is straight up just the deck. If they were me, I'd never ride it once. I would hang it on the wall and cherish it for all my time on this planet Earth. For you to win, or be considered to win, this amazing gift from Blizzard. How nice are they to even do this? You will do the following. You'll send me an email to thediabloshow@gmail.com, and you must have this in the subject line. The word skate, S-K-A-T-E, must be in the subject line because I will be filtering winners that way, and if it is not there or it is spelled incorrectly, you will not be in contention for the win. You will not be eligible. So again, email saying why you want this thing. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm primarily picking this, well, entirely picking this at random, but this is how we're taking the randomization here, is I'm getting them via emails. So you email skate in the subject line, why you want it, and you'll be entered to win. I'm going to run the contest for 2 solid weeks. So we won't give it away next week, but the week after that, we will give away this amazing deal. I mean, how rad is this? So anyway, partake in it. Be a part of it. Enjoy your life after winning the coolest thing ever. I'm sort of tempted to keep it, but I won't. Do hang around for the rest of the show because after I'm done talking here, we got some calls that were best suited for the end of the show. So I'll be putting those on the tail end of things. Please listen to those. We got another call from Deckard Cain coming up here shortly. It's a good one. Stay a while and listen. I think that's the segment we'll call that. Quick shout out to Chad Willett and others who purchased the Loot Pinata, the Diablo Show Loot Pinata, to help support the show and make it possible. If you guys pick that thing up, it really, really does help this show stay on and helps us get closer to a season 2. Go to frogpants.com/store. That's frogpants.com/store and purchase the Diablo Show Loot Pinata. It's right up front and center there. You can't miss it. So do that, will you? Don't forget, at frogpants.com/Diablo is where our show notes are. We'll have links to everything we talked about today. That's frogpants.com/Diablo. The Diablo Show @gmail.com, once again, is our email address. On Twitter, you can follow the show at The Diablo Show. You can follow me at Scott Johnson. And you can phone call us. You can phone call us. You can call us at 206-278-0553. Keep them short and keep them interesting. And they might just make it on the show. You guys are amazing. Thanks a lot. We'll be back next week with a brand new show. Stay tuned for a bunch more stuff right here. And we'll see you then.
Joel Zimmerman, a.k.a. Dead Mouse.
Hello, I am Deckard Cain. Today's letter comes from your mother. She writes, Dear Deckard, please inform my child that they are playing way too much Diablo 3. I haven't seen them in days. They don't call. They don't write. In fact, they completely forgot about Mother's Day. Thank you. This is unacceptable. You really should talk to your mother. After all she's done for you. Go ahead, get her some flowers, or socket a fine gem into something for her. I'm sure she would appreciate the 10% extra chance for gold find. That's the kind of love a child should show a parent. Thank you, friends, for staying a while and listening.
Hey, Scott, just got done listening to last week's show. The part about the guy just playing for the first time, not sure what to level up and gear for as far as what stats to look for, kind of got me thinking about what happened to me recently. I was on my Witch Doctor, and a sword dropped, legendary sword, and they had a reduced level requirement by 30, so I transferred it to my wizard, who was 44 at the time, and upped its CPS from about 2k to 68k, so that's a great increase of DPS. So I was able to start flying through Torment 2 leveling. I was kind of wondering what you would think about possibly getting a nice set of legendary gear that had a reduced level requirement for faster leveling and Torment farming. Love the show. Keep it up.
Hey, Scott. This is Peter calling from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I was listening to an episode of the show, one of the first ones, where somebody kind of mentioned the Rift It Forward program, where, you know, somebody opens a rift and then in the community basically says whenever they're almost done with the rift, then, you know, somebody will open up the rift when the Rift Guardian is dead. Just kind of wanted to give a little bit more detail on how it all kind of works. So basically, one person acts as the runner, will open a rift in whatever difficulty it is, usually T1 through T6, and then when they're almost done, close to being done with the rift, or when the Rift Guardian is spawned, they'll run away and then post in the chat channel that they have, you know, a Rift Guardian up, and then usually they will say who will open up the next rift, whether it's the lowest Paragon, the highest Paragon, or the last person to join are the most typical ones. But, you know, the listeners should know about it. It's a great way to kind of do quick rifts, and you're not always spending rift key fragments, but, you know, it's a really great way to get blood shards and to get legendaries and Forgotten Souls. Thanks. Keep up the good work. Love the show. Bye.
Hey, Scott. Eric Muller here. So, in regards to kickables and clickables, this is how I like to do it. I like to use my Demon Hunter, and on my secondary skill, I use the Chakram skill with a Shuriken Cloud. And that means those shurikens it's a passive skill, so they're just spinning around you. You just recast it every 10 minutes. And so, what that means is, when you're running around, anything you get near is going to get hit with them, and that includes barrels or little stacks of rocks. And that means I don't have to click as much. I can just walk around the area and everything's getting destroyed around me, and it's an easy way to find a lot of that loot. Yes, you still do have to click on corpses and junk, but it cuts down on time, and it's fun to watch everything break, too. Loving the show. Bye-bye.
Hey, Scott. It's Keith, a.k.a. Valsartan. I've been farming for the Hellfire Ring over the past 2 weeks. It's worth a Google for your listeners who aren't familiar with the item of the grind to get it. I really enjoy bounties and Nefrifs, but there's something about playing towards a goal that really gets me going. The effort you put in, you know, as much as sitting in front of my PC playing Diablo 3 can be considered an effort. The anticipation of the drop, the excitement of getting closer to the goal. I miss things like getting a tune for MC or the Karazhan key grind back in the day that have been abandoned as the business models of MMOs have evolved to appeal to a broader, more casual player base. Hopefully WildStar will have some of that stuff. Haven't really gotten far in enough yet to know. Anyway, I wonder what other endgame goals Blizz could develop for D3 besides the Hellfire Ring. More farming to make Uber items seems obvious and easy. I wonder what else they could throw at us to keep us kicking and clicking for hundreds of more hours to come. Maybe opening a new vendor that sells legendaries, or access to another kind of rift with an upgraded loot list. What do you think? Anything you'd like to see added to keep the endgame interesting beyond the intrinsic slot machinery that defines a brilliant action RPG?
Joel Zimmerman, a.k.a. Dead Mouse.
This podcast is part of the Frog Pants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.